Back here with former Pro Bowl quarterback Brandon Flowers. Patrick Mahomes is preparing for his first career playoff game as a starter. He and the Chiefs will take on the Colts at home on Saturday. And after throwing for 50 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards this season, Andy Reid thinks he's ready for the moment.
So far, I haven't seen anything that's really too big for Pat. I'm not even worried about that. He's going to get himself ready just like he does every week, and to play against a good football team. So, but I don't think he's wired the other way. And I'm not predicting anything. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just telling you, matter of fact, how he's wired, and how he goes about his business.
Brandon, we saw Lamar Jackson take the stage last weekend. The moment was a little too big for him. It wasn't too big for Deshaun Jackson. So it Deshaun Watson, rather, excuse me. It kind of goes both ways depending on who the quarterback is. The guy that Andy Reid just described seems to be a level-headed, low-key guy who doesn't get too flustered by the moments. What do you think the key will be for this Colts defense to slow down or stop Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense?
I think Patrick Mahomes falls in that Drew Brees, Tom Brady category where to stop him, you have to keep him off the field. Don't let him get in rhythm, getting back on the field, scoring points, the defense getting stops. I think you have to run the ball on offense with Andrew Luck and just be efficient going down the field, and don't let him back on the field so quick and so often. And once he gets on offense, you have to take away Tyreek Hill. That's his money guy. That's his deep ball guy, and just stop the run. If those two things don't get going, I think Andy Reid gets a little impatient. And that's when his play calling starts to, go off the script and go off the map. And that's when Kansas City can be had.
And listen, the Chiefs are the best front-running team in football. There's no question about that. You get behind against Kansas City. I know the Chargers were able to execute that late comeback, but that has not been the script. The Chiefs have been a team, if they jump out to a lead, they beat you. And they have shown the ability to come back when they've been down a couple scores, as they did against the Pats to tie it, against the Rams to take a lead. I know the Colts have the #1 defense in football since Week 7. I do not think this Colts defense is set up to slow down Patrick Mahomes. They run this Tampa 2. But if you look at the advanced numbers, what Pat Mahomes has done against zone schemes all year, he's been great against everything. He's been particularly great against defenses like the one the Colts like to run. I totally agree with you. The only way the Colts can slow down Pat Mahomes is that Pat Mahomes sitting on the sideline wearing a parka waiting for his next chance. It's a running game for the Colts. It's a time of possession game, because I do not think the Colts defense, as good as it's been, is going to keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah, I think the Colts are the worst matchup for the Chiefs because they can go ball control. They can do it different. They can run Marlon Mack, or Andrew Luck can just pick that defense apart. Now, Kansas City, man, and I played against Kansas City. I've watched you play in Kansas City. The defensive backs that they have, when they take a picture of the greatest, and they're coached by one of the greats, Emmett Thomas, he's a Hall of Famer. He's there coaching Kansas City. This group of DBs, absent of Eric Berry, will not be in y'all's picture. I mean, because for years, they have played man-to-man. They have played great defense, and we're just not going to see that. So I'm concerned about Andrew Luck. I'm concerned about that running game. Now, as far as Indy's defense, what is cover 2, all right? Cover 2 is based on we can take you out of your running game with a basic either 4-2 front or a 4-2 nickel. And if Kansas City does not run the football, this is where they will miss Kareem Hunt. And this is where, if Andy loses his patience, if Patrick Mahomes plays like a younger player, loses his patience, because against a cover 2, you have to be able to run the ball, and you have to be patient enough to check the ball down. You have to go on 12 to 10 play drives, and that's what you're going to have to see in this game.
And that's your concern about Mahomes, is you've been high on Mahomes, but your concern is, and what you've verbalized to me is it's 3rd and 4, and you have the ability to throw it 6 yards for a first down, and he throws it 40 yards to try to go for the kill shot, right? Like,
does he have the ability to turn into Breeze and Brady and be methodical?
Yeah.
Right now, Patty Mahomes gets turned on behind the back pass and the 3-pointer. But will he be methodically and just be able to bleed you like these other quarterbacks do? Well, that's 3. That's to the flat. Now, does he have that mentality? And until we see that, that will be my critique. It's not a criticism.
Right.
Until we see it in the games, and especially in the playoff games, that's very, very important to me.
And going back to what Nick said, I think cover 2 is what they want. To get Tyreek Hill one-on-one with a safety where he can run and turn.
Because they do play him in that slot.
That's exactly what they want. If you look at Andy Reid, he always had great running backs, from Brian Westbrook to Shady McCoy to Jamal Charles, Chadrick West, Spencer Ware. Then Kareem Hunt came out of nowhere. And then Damian Williams
5 yards a carry.
Exactly. So he has to run the ball to be successful. I know Patrick Mahomes can air it out, but he has to get the running game going first to air it out.
First-time quarterbacks were 0-3 last weekend. I'm just wondering, when it comes to experience, when you look at Patrick Mahomes, how much more, I guess, experience a guy like Andrew Luck is going to have more than, say, a guy like Mahomes, and if that's going to affect the, hey, I need to do what I need to do. I need to get 4 yards here. Maybe I don't throw it down.
Well, listen, I can speak to that. Patrick Mahomes' worst games, or the worst beginnings he's had, have been in the biggest spots. So this is, and now they've been on the road, but where he has struggled early was the first half Monday Night Football against Denver, the first few drives against New England, the first few drives against the Rams. Those games, national TV, big spotlight games, he struggled early, then found himself late. He cannot do that in this game. Whatever the version of getting a guy a layup, to getting a guy to the free throw line, whatever that version is of have his first pass be a completion for 6 yards, that's the play they need to run, because he needs to have the success early, because I have seen nerves get to him early in games. He's settled, but we've seen that in games this year.
B. Flowers, I have one for you. Give us a little wild card, because you and I are very, very familiar with Eric Berry. Nick always talks about him coming back for this playoff. What does he add to a defense? What type of player and what type of character does he bring to the football field?
He's an emotional leader on this team, not just this defense, on this team. When he's on the field, this defense feel like they have a chance. This team feel like he have a chance. He can.
So among all them guys that they have, because Eric's a very, very quiet guy. You talking about he's got the attention of everyone in the locker room?
In the locker room. Before everybody comes before a game, they huddle around Eric Berry. Even when he was hurt, he'll still come to the games. Everybody huddle around him. He gets this team fired up and going before the game. And when he's on the back end, you know he might come up with a hard hit, a pick. He's great in the run game. So they definitely need his presence on this defense, and that can slow down Andrew Luck at least a little bit.
Why do you think a Chiefs team that usually a team that has Chris Jones, 15 sacks, D Ford, 10-plus sacks, Justin Houston, if you have 3 excellent pass rushers, maybe that's not going to make you a great defense, but you're not going to be the 31st ranked defense like the Chiefs are. Why do you think they've struggled so much defensively, despite the fact that they can get after the passer?
Because the front and the back end go hand in hand.
Yes.
If you can't cover on the outside, even though they're getting sacks, they still can be hacked. They can just throw the ball up on fade routes, get penalties, and get big plays. The defensive backs from Kansas City has to show up today to get these guys, just some time to get home and just be disruptive.
You have to believe in each other. Each level of the defense has to believe in it. That's what you see Baltimore. They don't have the best talent, but what they do, they all move in unison. The linebackers, the coverage all match up. So when you get a breakdown in coverage, what you start to see is linebackers start to freelance, and defensive line, because they got more talent, they start to freelance, and they need to have faith that every guy is going to do his job, and that's how you're able to get it done at all 3 of those levels. We haven't seen that in Kansas City, a lot like the L.A. Rams. They got great corner play.
And they got Aaron Donald up front.
Okay, but we don't see them play good defense, because they all have to be married together. Back in with that intermediate part of the defense and that front line, trying to give constant pressure and taking them out of the running game.
Brendan, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Really good stuff. Come back again.
Yeah, I'm sorry I know you, man. I'm sorry. We have to bring you back.
Nets emerging star Spencer Dinwiddie joins us next on First Things
let's do that. We're going to play a little basketball.
And one of those running backs you were talking about is on the show today, too, Brian Westbrook.
Man.
He's on here later.
Yeah, we got a stacked show today.